Our story begins with a widower who has to raise his child alone. Every decision feels heavy, because every responsibility sits on his shoulders. That is the life of Man Sick, a single father who works hard just to make sure his little girl is okay. At this point in his life, Man Sick is desperately looking for a woman from Vietnam that he can hire to act as a pretend mother for his daughter. He meets a male agent who shows him a photo of a candidate, but the agent is not convinced. He worries the girl will not believe that the woman in the photo is really her mother. Man Sick admits that his daughter has never seen her mother at all. He has always lied, telling the child that her mother is working far away in Vietnam. Even though the woman in the photo does not look very convincing, Man Sick feels cornered. So, after being rejected by many other women who refused to play his fake wife, he finally agrees. As he leaves that place, he stumbles into an unusual commotion. A woman is being chased by a man. It turns out she works at a prostitution club and is trying to run away because she cannot stand that life anymore. Man Sick steps in and Dick loses his temper and punches the man. Soon after, a woman known as Madam arrives. She also happens to know Man Sick. Madam explains that the woman was running away because she owes money to the man who was chasing her. That is why he was after her. Man Sick calmly replies that if there is a problem, they should report it to the police, not solve it with violence. He even says that if what he did was wrong, he is willing to be reported as well. Then he walks away, already regretting getting involved in such trouble. After that, he goes to a salon to pick up his daughter, Ina. Her bright, happy face shows how deeply Man Sick loves her. On the way home, Yina keeps asking when her mother will come back, why she seems so comfortable working in Vietnam, and whether she really loves her. Every answer that comes out of Man Sick's mouth is a lie, but he tells himself it is for her own good. He reassures her that her mother will come home one day, and that when that happens, Yina will finally be able to register for school. And with that fragile hope, their story begins. This is Summer Dream. That night, Man Sick sits down with his older brother, Chan Su, for a serious talk. Chan Su asks if marrying a Vietnamese woman just for paperwork is really the best choice. Man Sick explains that he only plans to marry on paper and borrow the woman's name, so he can make a proper birth certificate for Yina. That way, her mother's name will be officially written there. Chan Su then asks if the woman he is hiring has actually agreed to this arrangement. Man Sick confidently says she will, because he plans to pay her 20 million won. Hearing that, Chan Su's wife cannot hide her annoyance. To her, Man Sick seems twisted for going this far, and she cannot understand why he does not just fight. While complaining, Madam starts talking about Man Sick. She admits that she is actually scared of him, because in this town, he is one of the most respected people. Even though he struggles with money, he is generous to everyone. Hearing that, Mi Hai becomes curious. If he is really poor, why is he so kind to others? Madam has no answer and simply avoids the question. The next morning, in his small and simple home, Man Sick begins his day with only his daughter and their pet pig, Dong Si. Yina gets ready to go out and play, while Man Sick happily continues hanging laundry. Out of nowhere, Mi Hai shows up at his house, just to apologize for what happened the day before. Meanwhile, Yina is playing with her cousin, Min Jun. He teases her, saying her father is a liar. Yina refuses to believe it and proudly insists that her family is actually very rich. Back at the house, Man Sick receives a call from Sung Soo. He tells him that the Vietnamese woman has backed out and no longer wants to pretend to be Yina's mother. This news hits Man Sick hard, because school registration is coming up, and the birth certificate cannot be processed without the marriage papers. Mi Hai notices how frustrated he is and keeps asking what happened, even holding his hand in a playful way that makes him even more flustered. Not long after, Yina returns home and sees her father standing close to Mi Hai. To her, it looks like the warm welcome of a mother who has finally come back. She runs straight into Mi Hai's arms and hugs her tightly. Despite Man Sick insisting that Mi Hai is not her mother, Yina refuses to let go and bursts into tears. The situation becomes even more complicated. Man Sick confides in his brother Chan Su, explaining that Yina now believes Mi Hai is her mom, while the woman he originally hired has backed out. He fears Mi might only be pretending to be kind because she works as a cafe attendant and may not fully understand what has happened. Chan Su asks if this still looks like pretending. To him, this could actually be good fortune. Later that day, when Man Sik returns home, he finds Yina asleep in Mi-Hi's arms. Mi-Hi tries to leave but stops and comes back again, unsure of what to do. Realizing how much the situation has changed, Man Sik decides to tell the truth. He explains that the woman he hired has cancelled, and since Yina now believes Mi-Hi is her mother, he wants to ask Mi-Hi to take on the role temporarily. Mi-Hi refuses right away. She is offended. She may not have a perfect past, but she is not that kind of woman. Man Sik keeps pleading and promises to pay her 20 million won. She still refuses but then remembers her debt. This role might be the only way to finally free herself from it. After a long moment of hesitation, she agrees. With that decision, her debt is cleared and for the first time in a long while, Mi-Hi can finally live without fear hanging over her. The next morning, Yina is bursting with excitement. Today is the day she believes her mother will finally come home to live with them. But there is one problem. Madam refuses to release Mi-Hi unless Man Sik pays her 1 million won. Wanting nothing more than his daughter's happiness, Man Sik signs a statement declaring that Mi-Hi is free from Madam and hands over the money. Man Sik and Yina wait outside while Mi-Hi packs her things. When she takes too long, Man Sik calls out to her. It turns out she was actually planning to run away. But Yina, too eager to see her mother, rushes inside and interrupts her escape. With her plan ruined, Mi-Hi reluctantly leaves with them, her expression cold and unwilling. When they arrive at the house, seeing her irritation, Man Sik hurriedly tells Yina that her mother is just tired. Yina stays cheerful and continues to admire her without question. Later that night, Mi-Hi ends up sleeping deeply, almost peacefully, something she rarely experiences. When she wakes up, the house is quiet. To her, this feels like the perfect moment to run away again. She tiptoes to the door, but just as she peeks out, she comes face to face with Man Sik, who is also peeking in her direction. Startled, they both end up confronting each other. Man Sik insists he was not spying. He only wanted to wake her up for dinner because she had not eaten all day. That night, Mi-Hi asks where Yina is, confused by how silent the house feels. Man Sik does not answer. Instead, he hands her the marriage form and asks her to fill it out. Mi-Hi quickly suggests doing it the next morning, but she is only stalling for time, hoping to find another chance to slip away. Man Sik explains that he will be very busy tomorrow and has no time to deal with paperwork, especially since Chan Su and his family have already prepared a celebratory meal for them. With no other option, Mi-Hi begins filling out the form. She tries hard to hide her personal information, but Man Sik, being as straightforward as ever, notices. Mi-Hi finally tells him the truth. She was abandoned at an orphanage as a baby. Her father gave her a name and disappeared forever. Man Sik keeps asking questions, driven by curiosity until she becomes irritated. She reminds him that having no family is exactly why she agreed to pretend to be Yina's mother. It benefits her, so he should not ask too much. With that, she turns away and walks back into the house, leaving Man Sik standing there processing the complicated woman he just brought into his life. A little later, Man Sik heads out to a gathering. She is not shy, she just gets irritated every time she sees his face. So he decides it is better to let her rest at home. Left alone in the house, Mi-Hi still cannot wrap her head around Man Sik. He looks so simple yet he somehow has money. Before making her escape, she even considers stealing from him. But as she moves around the house, the bandage on her leg comes loose. And right at that moment, Man Sik and Yina unexpectedly return and catch her in the act. Startled, Mi-Hi quickly insists she did not steal anything. Man Sik, instead, he notices her injured leg and assumes she was only looking for a first aid kit. His genuine concern embarrasses her, and before she can hide her feelings he is already helping treat her wound. The next morning, Yina waits eagerly for her mother to wake up. When Mi-Hi finally opens her eyes, Yina compliments her beauty and shyly asks for something she has never experienced. She wants to touch her mother's arm. Mi agrees, but sets a strict rule that she can only place her hand there and not move. Instead, Yi-na squeezes her chest in pure childish curiosity. Overjoyed, she runs to tell her father how soft her mother's chest is, leaving Mi mortified. After breakfast, Yi-na cannot wait to show her best friend the braids that her mother made for her. Meanwhile Mi, who once wanted nothing but to escape, begins to feel the warmth of a real family for the first time in her life. Later on, Man-sik leaves for work at the pig farm, and Mi falls asleep alone in the house. When she wakes up, she finds a note from Man-sik. He tells her there is fruit in the fridge, she can eat anything she likes, and if she wants snacks, she can take some money and go to the grandma's shop he has drawn on a little map. Using that map, she heads to the small store, where she unexpectedly finds Yi-na. The grandmother welcomes Mi warmly and compliments her beauty, saying she looks like a wonderful wife for Man-sik. On their way back, a farmer calls out to them. The woman happily hands them peppers for free. Soon others approach, offering octopus, watermelon, and more compliments about Mi. Yi-na beams with pride, and for the first time, Mi feels the kindness of a community that genuinely cares about them. When they arrive home, Man-sik is stunned by the pile of goods Mi is carrying. Yi-na excitedly explains that everything was given to them by local farmers. Anyone who saw them on the road handed them something, from produce to small gifts. Right then, Mi asks a question that has been on her mind. Do the villagers really believe she is Yi-na's mother since everyone kept calling her beautiful? Man-sik explains why. No one in the village has ever seen the real mother, so there is no way for anyone to recognize her. That thought leaves Mi a little speechless. The next morning, she asks him to sit down so she can fix it for him. It has been years since he has been this close to a woman, and the moment her hands touch his hair, his nerves start to short-circuit. His whole body trembles like he is freezing while she trims away. After the haircut, Mi hints that she wants to borrow his motorcycle to go into town. Instead of letting her go alone, Man-sik suggests they all go together. So the three of them set out for a small family outing. Yi-na is thrilled and Mi slowly begins to warm up to this life. In town, Man-sik treats them kind, but nearby, Madam happens to see them. The look on her face shows she cannot stand seeing how much Mi has changed. A moment later, Chan Young arrives and asks if the cafe has any coffee. Instead of answering, Madam blurts out that the woman with Man-sik used to work as a cafe attendant. Chan Young immediately scolds her, telling her to watch her words because there is no way Man-sik's wife would ever do that kind of job. Madam is left speechless. Meanwhile, Yi-na spots a group of schoolchildren walking together and becomes eager to register for school. She drags her father around the area, wanting to see the school and a daycare for herself. Man-sik tries to admit that he does not know where any of these places are, but Yi-na reassures him. She believes her mother knows everything. After circling around for a while, Yi-na eventually falls asleep. Both Man-sik and Mi feel a heaviness in their hearts. Man-sik worries that he still cannot give his daughter everything she needs, while Ma-hai quietly wonders what she should do next. Later, Man-sik prepares to leave again, telling Mi that he has to work overtime because one of the pigs is about to give birth. Before he goes, she tries to talk about Yi-na's school plans, but he cuts her off gently. He fears the topic will only stress her more. When he finally leaves, Mi heads to her room. While opening a drawer, she finds the marriage form. She realizes Man-sik never submitted it because her signature is still missing. This discovery hits her harder than she expected. Not long after, Chan Young visits the house. He introduces himself with a long speech, claiming to be Man-sik's cousin. Then he immediately adds that he thought she would be more impressive, but she seems ordinary. Without hesitation, he also mentions that he knows she used to work as a cafe attendant. Hearing this, Mi stays silent, but inside she breaks. No matter what her past is, Mi has become someone gentle and beautiful in his eyes. When he finally reaches the house, he calls out to her with a slurred voice. There is no answer, so he assumes she is fast asleep. In his drunken state, all the emotions he has been holding back come pouring out. He begins talking to himself, apologizing over and over. He admits that even if Mi Hai once worked in a cafe, she is still a young woman worthy of respect. She has real feelings and she has a child who adores her and clings to her. She has become an important part of their lives. Instead of blaming himself, he starts to feel grateful. He says he is lucky to be foolish because if he were smarter, he might have done something wrong. He is terrified of ever having bad intentions towards someone as kind and lovely as her. What he does not know is that Mi Hai is awake. She hears every word, standing quietly as her heart twists with confusion. She cannot decide whether she should stay or walk away. The next morning, Yina panics because her mother has a fever. Man Sick quickly asks Yina to take care of her while he goes out to buy medicine. Yina, who has grown used to handling things on her own, cares for Mi Hai with all the affection she has. She reads a story about a mother bird protecting her child, and in that moment, Mi Hai breaks down in tears. She knows she cannot stay by Yina's side forever. Seeing her cry, Yina comforts her, insisting that the mother bird in the story will be fine. But Mi Hai cannot stop crying. Meanwhile in town, Chan Young spots the medicine Man Sick is carrying and assumes Yina is sick. Man Sick explains that the medicine is actually for her mother. Chan Young is shocked because he saw Mi Hai perfectly healthy the day before and he knows about her past as a cafe worker. That is when it hits Man Sick. Chan Young must have said those things directly to her. His anger rises and he rushes home. When he arrives, Yina tells him that her mother is not in the room anymore. Panic hits him and he runs out to search for her. Luckily, she has not gotten far. He immediately explains that Madam is the one who told Chan Young about her past. He begs her not to misunderstand. But Mi Hai refuses to believe him. She calls him a liar. She says her whole life has been difficult and painful and she has accepted a future that feels like trash. To her, Man Sick walked into her world only to mess everything up, including her heart and her mind. She says that before Chan Young came, she genuinely cared for Yina and was ready to accept Man Sick too. Hearing this, Man Sick is crushed. He asks her quietly if she really sees him as someone who would lead her astray. Or if she sees him as someone who came to bring her home. The question is simple, but it leaves her speechless. All she can manage to say is that she wants to leave. A few days pass and Yina finally asks the question she has been holding onto. She wants to know why her mother has not called and why she left before school registration. Man Sick gently tells her that her mother went back to Vietnam for work. He apologizes too, explaining that he still has not been able to register her for school. That night, far away in a small pharmacy, Mi Hai stands silently in an aisle. She watches a young girl crying while reading the same story Yina once read to her. The story about the mother bird. The sight immediately tugs at her heart. She cannot help but speak softly to the girl, reassuring her that Mother Bird does not die and that she eventually gets to live happily with her child. The moment reveals just how much she misses Yina. Back at home, Yina refuses to trim her nails because she is afraid the nail paint her mother applied will disappear. While helping her get ready for a bath, Man Sick accidentally finds the marriage form again. This time he notices something he had never seen before. Mi Hai signed it. Not only that, she corrected her real age, revealing that she is actually 32. And suddenly everything becomes clear. She did not want a marriage only on paper. She wanted a real marriage. She wanted a life with them. The realization overwhelms Man Sick. For the first time in a long time, he feels truly overjoyed. The next morning, filled with new determination, he calls his lawyer. It is then revealed that Man Sick is actually a wealthy man who has chosen to live a simple life. With everything finally in place, he and Mi Hai head to their wedding ceremony, smiling with genuine happiness. And that is where their story ends.